would want to share to you my first impressions of newly acquired paints that I got. I bought them from Shopee Philippines from a seller called Fine Pix Arts. They came very securely with multiple layers of packaging. You can look for them and shop from them through the links that you just saw. So it's a very adorable packaging, and the seller is very good with the shipping and the wrapping of the paints. Now to the paints that I just got, these are Novscala Palitra's White Nights Watercolors. They come wrapped in a plastic wrapper followed by an aluminum wrapper. The colors I got were Naples Yellow, Indian Gold, Naples Orange, Vermilion Hue, Burnt Sienna, Sepia, Ruby, Quinacridone Magenta, Quinacridone Lilac, Quinacridone Violet rather than Quinacridone Magenta, Payne's Gray, Prussian Blue, and Cobalt Turquoise. The packaging of the paints was pretty much satisfactory, having the pigment information and light fastness ratings on the plastic wrapper. If you're very particular with that, I suggest you keep this plastic wrapper. They look like small candies that are wrapped in aluminum foil, which was quite joyous to actually open up, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the paints like these Naples Yellow stick to the aluminum packaging very slightly. So if you're a bit stingy, you can keep the aluminum foil and use the paints that stuck into that aluminum wrapping. Now, talking about how the paints perform upon first impressions, they wet very easily. Just a bit of water really gets these paints going. It gives me an impression that either they have a good amount of glycerin in their binder, or they used honey along with the binder that they use with the pigment. Looking at the ingredients, there was just gum arabic and pigments, but a part of me believes that this gum arabic contains other ingredients that makes this very easy to re-wet. The colors I got were focused much on the warm earthy tones because I usually paint portraits. The Naples Yellow and the Naples Orange were a bit more opaque, but I already expected that from the get-go. Especially that Naples Yellow containing 4 pigments. But I understand its properties and I have an idea of how to work with it. The burnt sienna kind of reminds me of Winsor & Newton's burnt sienna, which is more reddish. I have to check if it's PR 101 or PBR 7. The sepia is very reminiscent of Van Dyke Brown from Magello Mission Gold, but it's a bit more transparent and a lot more subdued than the Magello Mission Gold. This Vermilion Hue that I just swatched is a gorgeous color that's borderlining red and orange. It's very interesting. Perhaps my favorite color though from this set is that ruby shade, which is a very akin to alizarin crimson but less purple, which I really like to add to skin tones. The two quinacridone colors, Quinacridone Lilac and Quinacridone Violet, are from PV19, and they will be very instrumental to mixing purples for shadow areas that I may decide to paint. Speaking of shadow areas, their paints gray is very deep in tone, and it has more of a greenish tone rather than a more blue tone that I was expecting from the shade. Their Prussian blue was very reminiscent of a phthalo color, but it's not as stunning as phthalo blue. And we have here Cobalt Turquoise, which for being a cobalt shade is actually a very affordable. All the paints that I got cost me between 140 to 150 pesos, so more or less $3 US. And I'm very satisfied with this purchase just on the amount of paint alone that I'm getting and the quality of paint that is included. The paints are allegedly artist grade and pretty light fast. They don't move that much on wet. The paper that I'm swatching them on and testing them on is on Tokyo Fine's cellulose paper, so the water sits on top more, which is why you can see the pigments moving more. But I have a theory that if we use this with cotton paper, the pigments would probably stay into place. So my first impression for these paints, they're pretty pigmented. They come at a pretty affordable price, and I've seen a lot of reviews prior to buying this of their reliability and how well they mix. But basing on first impressions alone, I do recommend these paints for those who want to dip their toes into watercolor and wants to try the professional watercolor realm. Please support the Fine Picks shop that I just mentioned. Just on customer service alone and how they packaged, I really enjoy that. So here are the swatches and a simple painting, I guess, just to try it out, and I added 2 additional paints there. Alright, thanks for watching my video. Bye.